Episode 17. Hey Tom.
Hey Mike, how you doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm a little bit cold, hence why I'm in my jacket. I'm also from Yorkshire, and as a proud Yorkshireman, I don't like spending money at all. So I'm going to sit here and be miserable in my jacket, drinking Ovaltine, but take pride in the fact that I'm not spending a penny on heat.
Extra calories burnt when it's cold as well. So,
yes, there you go. See, that's another reason.
Every cloud. Right. So yeah, guys, episode 17. What we're going to do today, we're going to talk about New Year goals and just give you, if you're getting on well, awesome, fair play, hats off, give yourself a pat on the back. If you're not and you're struggling, we're going to give you some reasons why you may be struggling, and also give you some stuff to work on to take away from today's call, which will hopefully move you forward. If you are on live, give us a little shout in the chat, because we always do appreciate any thoughts and feedbacks, and it's nice to know that people are listening. So yeah, we'll delve into that. But first of all, before we do go into that, what we done, me and Tom, and I've seen this with lots of people, we did a poll leading up to the new year, and it was like, what are you going to be working on in the new year? And I would say that 90% of people said it was going to be health and fitness related. Pretty much everyone I spoke to said they were going to work on their health and fitness this year. And we see it every year. So that's why we're doing it, because it's something that people want to work on. We like to work on ourselves. So if maybe you was one of those 9 out of 10 people that was going to work on your health and fitness this year, we'll hopefully give you some clarity on that. Is that what you found as well, right?
Yeah, it's a big thing. And I think I would say most people's New Year's resolutions does center around health and fitness. I think partly it's because it's over Christmas. We're aware that we're maybe overdoing it a bit, and we're aware that there's a price to pay in January when we get there. So maybe it's top of mind a bit more. It's a fairly easy one, I guess, to think of, isn't it? Someone say, what would you like to change in your life? And it's probably, the health, probably something I'd like to work on. I'd like to be a bit fitter, lose a bit of weight. So yeah, definitely, it's the main thing that I see.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think we know that, like we see it every year. It's about 90%. I don't know if that's changed through the decades, but we see it pretty much every year. So what we want to do is give you some thoughts on that. So look, if you're now coming into March and you're doing well, awesome, that's great. You probably don't need to listen to this, but you probably will get some value. So do stay on. Give yourself a pat on the back. And I genuinely mean that as well, because it's not easy. There's so many distractions. There's so many things, obstacles and barriers that can come up. So if you're doing well, like, give yourself a pat on the back, because you're probably doing stuff that maybe 95% of the other people aren't doing. You're looking after your health, your exercise, and you're doing those things. So feel good about that. I think that's important to say, right, Tom?
Yeah, definitely. I think anybody that actually that wants to improve their health and makes that change and kind of is still going, I would say a few months in. I mean, you've done the hardest bit. You've got over that hump, and actually by now it's probably a habit, and you've probably seen results, and you will have seen the change. And you will be buoyed up by that. You will have gone through struggles in terms of no motivation, dark mornings, cold mornings, not feeling like you're getting anywhere. So you would have gone through this in this little microcosm of 2.5 months. You would have gone through all the things that you're going to come up against, all the struggles, all the things. So anybody here that maybe thinking back to January didn't make it, have a little thought that actually now this last two months and a bit have gone pretty quickly. Think of, if you started now, the next two and a half months is going to go at the same pace, and think about how far you could be. So maybe take a little bit of, confidence that actually somebody exactly like you has already made lots of changes.
Yeah, 100%. Like, just think about where you could be. And we all get to Christmas, don't we, and think, F me, that year went quick. I'm watching my swearing because we're a little bit earlier on. Not that there's like some sort of like curfew or something, but I'm watching my swearing, so I'm gonna say F, not the full. So yeah, we always get to Christmas and go, wow, that year went really quickly, and it's not going to change. Suddenly, it's going to be Christmas again, guys. And if you're, struggling or you're stuck, it's about really sort of like having that, like we talk about this all the time, like that holding that mirror and having that tough conversation with yourself and thinking, right, what do I want to do? How do I want to go forwards? Do I want to approach another summer not being in the place I want to be, not just physical, but mentally as well? I think if you get to a good place in the physical side, it makes the mental side that little bit, not necessarily easier, but that more manageable. I know lots of people.
They're both so connected.
Yeah.
I mean, how I feel is really intrinsically connected to how my body feels, and certainly if having
body, mind, body, it's all interlinked.
And I think sometimes that's maybe, again, if we think back to standard, maybe traditional New Year's resolutions, I'm going to join the gym, I'm going to, I don't know, start a diet, I'm not going to eat carbs, or whatever it is, whatever tactics people have tried, it very rarely hits the mental aspect. So we're trying to fix something, but totally ignoring. I'm going to go, I don't know, 70% of what's going to give you success, maybe more, is actually the mental side, as whether you're doing it. It's why I said about thinking about all those people that started in January doing really well. They've gone through struggles, which shows, so they've built a mental strength that goes alongside
resilience.
Yeah, yes, resilience. Yeah. And I think sometimes that is missed. And if you downloaded a PDF in January that said, I don't know, six pack in 6 weeks or whatever, maybe that's why that didn't work, because that PDF was just giving you a little part of the tools that you can use to get to that point.
Yeah, I agree. And I think the reason why people do that is because, you're looking to undo the what's happened at Christmas in the quickest possible way. And we also like an idea of like shiny objects. So this thing's going to be the solution. And hopefully now people are really starting to realize that it doesn't work like that. It will never work like that. It can't work like that. Because the thing is, you have to, I'm not saying if you download something like that, you're not going to put the work in, but you're probably not really going to get the results and the benefits from it. Because that might be some dude that's able to go to the gym 5 times a week for an hour at a time, can prep his food, doesn't have family, all these like multitude of things that go into getting like a 6-pack or get into incredible physical shape. The likelihood is that 6-week thingy is going to be almost impossible to stick to. And then what is going to happen is it's another failed attempt. Self-esteem and confidence goes down a little bit lower because it's another thing I've tried and I feel bad because I couldn't do it. But the problem is, it's not you that's the problem with not being able to do it. It's the actual 6-week shred or get abs in 6 weeks. It's just not realistic.
No, and even I still see fitness bollocks bandied around. Like a reel popped up and it was a lady talking about losing lower belly fat using leg raisers.
Yeah,
which again is just, I mean, that's not how you're going to lose lower belly fat. It will probably strengthen the muscles in your lower abs and maybe your hip flexors, but if it's not going to fix the problem that she is advertising and banding around. And I think I think what you're talking about is maybe a symptom in the industry, that sometimes we try and sell things that aren't going to get the result, maybe to get people in. And I always think that the basics and the simple stuff is always true, and it's the boring truth. It's really it's not very exciting, but the implementation of these boring simple things is the key. And that again goes back to our brains and what our brains are telling us, and what our brains are telling us what to do, or not to do.
Yeah, like we said, if you could look at that, and that's mindset, isn't it? And I know you believe in this, and all the coaches we've worked with, we always say mindset overrules everything. So that's what's going on up here, basically. So I think that's something that maybe people don't necessarily know how to work on. If you said to someone tell me what working on your mindset would look like, some people would probably struggle with that. But what I believe is that it's doing things that are uncomfortable and doing them anyway. That's going to make you have a stronger mindset. So things like cold showers, flipping horrible, right? And you've got that little voice in your mind that doesn't want you to do it and wants to keep you safe. But then you do it, you feel really good for doing it. And then you're like, wow, if I can do that, what else can I do? And it's a little tick in that column of like, right, my mindset's that little bit stronger. So then when it comes into the gym and you don't want to go to the gym or you don't want to lift the weights or whatever, you've got that experience from the cold showers and you can move forward and go, no, because I can do cold showers. I can do this. I can lift these weights. And again, it just like keeps pushing you forwards. So for me, it's about what situations can I put myself in that are difficult and hard to work on, because that's how you're going to make your mindset stronger to move forwards.
Yeah, and even something that's, I mean, maybe doesn't sound too difficult, but I know a lot of people use the snooze button on their alarm.
Yeah.
So, because they don't want to get, there's like I don't know, it's one of the worst inventions ever, because it's basically you're hiding away from the world first thing in the morning. But say if every morning you said, you know what, I'm not going to snooze my alarm, and I'm just going to get out of bed every morning at the time I set my alarm. Even though at that moment I'm all really cozy and cuddly in my bed, and I'm all really warm, and even now and it's going to be cold. I said maybe it takes a little bit of leap of faith to believe it, but every single time you do that, you're building that mental strength. I can do something I don't want to do, which again is going to play into when, I don't know, you come home from work and you're tired and your gym kit's there and you don't want to go to the I'm going to go to the gym, and your brain's going, you don't need to go. It's okay. You can go tomorrow. Don't worry about it. It's only one. You're only missing one. When your brain's doing that, you've built up that mental strength to go, do you know what? I said I was going to do it, and I'm going to do it anyway. And I might walk out the house feeling a little bit kind of, I don't really want to go. But when you get in the car, you've done it. And then when you get there and you come back, do you know what? You always feel better. And again, it's just another little notch in the, you know what, mental strength.
Yeah, and it's so important to do that as well, because what our primary objective of our brain is basically to keep us safe. That's literally all it's there to do. It's designed to keep us safe. Yeah. But what the thing is now, we've evolved from caveman times. We're not worried about saber-toothed tigers getting us, but our brains haven't changed. So our brain doesn't want us to go to the gym. It doesn't want us to have the cold showers. It doesn't want us to get up straight away because it's unsafe to do those things. But the reality is it's not. We've just got to a cushy little place in life now, because it's like that thing you talked about before, sort of like, was it so like basically the comfort zone there. We've got, our lives are really easy, that we're almost conditioned to take the easy option, always look for the shortcut, snooze the alarm, have a nice warm shower, don't go to the gym, all these things. But what it's doing is it's just almost like making us soft and not resilient. And that's maybe why people struggle, because it's easier to go, do you know what, I'll let myself off. I won't go to the gym. I'll snooze my alarm for 5 minutes. I won't do the cold shower. And then what that does again is just your mindset, just if you're talking about trying to be resilient, it just goes down and down and down and down. And then you just, I don't know, you feel further away from your goals than ever before.
Yeah, and mindset's a funny one, isn't it? It's a funny word. It seems to have died down a little bit, but I think like during COVID and after COVID, it was everywhere, wasn't it? There was all talk about mindset and having a good mindset. So it's a funny one, but I think it means different things to different people. And I think for us, it's more about that, the strength to do the things that you know you need to do and actually do want to do, but in the moment, it's taking that step. And it does take a bit of time to build it up. That's why things like the cold showers, which is safe, it's not going to hurt you. It's not being comfortable. It's not being nice.
And it's only a period of time. You know, it's uncomfortable for a period of time. Like anything in life, lift weights, you're only uncomfortable for a period of time. And then you get through it and you feel good. The way I think about mindset is I actually think about like mentality. So what mentality do you want to have? Do you want to have a loser's mentality over here or a winner's mentality over here? And I literally think of it almost as simple as that. And I think of people with winning mentality, people like Sir Alex Ferguson, one of the greatest managers, people in business that have like amazing mentalities and like work ethics, you know, people that you hear on podcasts. And I think like, who do you want to be? Who do you want to like look up to and aspire to? And these people, maybe you don't want to be as extreme as some of these people potentially, because, you know, they might be a little bit too far over this side, but, you know, what are they doing and what is their mentality that's got them to where they want to be? You know, someone like Michael Jordan as well. It was basically, you come up here and play basketball this and I'll drag you up and we'll win titles. Or if you're not good enough, it's basically get out. You know, if you can't stand the heat, get out of the kitchen. We're not saying it should be that extreme, but there should be like levels to it. You know, what do you want your mentality to be like?
And it's not always going to be over. It's not always going to be the winner. You're not always going to feel like you're a winner. And likewise, you're not always going to feel like you're losing. And I doubt those people you're speaking about would have always felt like they were winning. But I guess that the trick is to, the more you build it, the more you believe it. And like we mentioned, Muhammad Ali saying he's the greatest.
Yeah.
I doubt he always felt it. And I doubt when he first started saying it, he fully believed it. But he thought, that's what I want to be. And I imagine when he was feeling like awesome and like really good, and I bet he fully believed it. And when he said it, he sang it with his soul when he said it. But I bet there were times where he wasn't feeling so good, and he'd say it, and there'd be that little nagging doubt in the back of his mind that said, "No, I don't think you are." But it's about, I guess he used that phrase as a way to build that belief.
Yeah, I love that story about like Muhammad Ali, that belief that he was going to be the greatest and he'd become the greatest. And I'm sure if nowadays we have all these podcasts and you get all these what look like successful people to us that come on, and Stephen Bartlett and the High Performance Podcast, all these Joe Rogan, all these people, and we think they've got no self-doubt, and they come on and go, oh yeah, I always had self-doubt and I'll always have self-doubt and all these different things. It makes them feel more human and vulnerable. So everyone has it. It's just about going through those times where it's hard, because that builds the mental strength, the mentality, the resilience. And, if we don't want to go too far off topic, we want to talk about how, if you haven't quite hit your goals, what you can do to move forwards. And if we're really talking about mindset here, it's about almost basically not giving up. I think that's what it comes down to, doesn't it? Who was it who was talking the other day? It was Seth Rogen, actually. He was on the Stephen Bartlett podcast, and he says, you might not make it, but you definitely won't make it if you give up. So you might as well just carry on, because one day you might actually make it.
And making it will be different. Like your idea of making it will be totally different in a year's time. If I think back to when I first started kind of exercising and kind of working on myself, my view of what that would be was very different. And my view of what I wanted was different. And also the kind of how I feel about where I am right now, I'm more aware of how kind of some days that I feel good and some days I don't. And other days it just evolves. It's an evolving thing. And I suppose Project U is worth working on. And it's, I don't think you'll ever regret kind of looking after yourself better. I don't think I've never heard anybody say, I really wish I'd drank more and ate more shit and just been a bit more slovenly and slob-like. I don't think anyone's ever said that. Whereas definitely I know a lot of people look back and say, well, I wish I'd looked after myself a bit more. And even now when I think about kind of the amount I do, I still look back and think, why did I wait so long to do stuff? Why did I do
better
that?
about myself, to work on my health, all those things. I wonder, like, let's talk about what is it that, because we see it and they reckon that most people's New Year's resolutions are given up by day 5, isn't it? Something crazy like that. So what are your thoughts? Yes, it was something stupid like 9. I don't know the exact percentage, but something like by day 5 they're done. Whether that's dry January or working on the health and all these commitments. Maybe what happens is people overcommit and it's just impossible to stick to.
Yeah, I think that's pretty common. I mean, that's why the gyms are so full. That's why the gyms make most of their money in the first 2 weeks of January. And then people pay their monthly subscription and never go. I think it's something like 80% of gym memberships go unused. So that's where they make their money. And yeah, it's maybe it is too much. It's too much. I'm going to join a gym. I'm going to go 5 times a week, and I'm going to love it. And it's going to be me. I'm going to be fixed. And I suppose it's the same with diet as well.
I also think, especially when it comes to January, it's almost like the mindset of I've got to lose this weight I'll put on at Christmas as quickly as possible. So I'm almost going to like punish myself at the gym with these really tough workouts. And unless I'm dripping with sweat and I've burnt a certain amount of calories and I barely walk out the gym, I've not had a good workout. And it's like, that's not the way to go about looking after your body and loving your body and thinking, well, what an amazing gift I have that my body can do all these things. And instead of going,
punishment,
punishment, I've got to do this. It should be like, I get to do this and I can get stronger, and I'm going to not just beast myself on the treadmill or the rowing machine or the cross train and burn all these calories, because, you know, ideally you want to be going in and looking at how you can enhance your life and make it stronger. Whereas I think especially January time, it's like this restriction and burning calories and giving up all these things that we enjoy doing. You're setting yourself up for failure almost from day one.
It's harming yourself. Whereas, I think if you come out from a place of love and going, I'm doing this because I want to love myself a bit more and I want to look after myself a bit more. I think that's the other side. The other side of the coin, isn't it? It's about that kind of. Yeah. It's more of the winner's side of the coin, isn't it? I'm actually going to love myself and actually going to look after it.
And then if you want to take the food side of things, I'm actually going to add foods into my diet that are really good for me and nutritious and benefits in terms of like vitamins and minerals, and get good food so my body works really well. Whereas what most people do again in January is like, I'm going to take out all the foods, and just everything I enjoy as well. Instead of putting foods in, like adding, like I say, like good fruit and vegetables and all things like that. It's always about, well, what can I take away? And again, it just sounds like really miserable. Like no wonder people are going to struggle,
Yeah, and I know you work similar way. In the first few weeks of working with our clients, it is adding stuff in, isn't it? I never say kind of cut out. That's right. What could we add in? What simple things can we add into our life? Food, exercise, whatever it is, to move the needle a little bit forward.
Yeah,
build a bit of confidence, get some results in the bag. Make it feel as simple and as easy as possible that you can fit into your life. But with that kind of, we are no longer thinking about the next few weeks. We're thinking, right, how is this going to make my life better forever? And I suppose that's a good test to test it against. I've got a tactic that I want to try. Okay, will this tactic help me in 20 years, 30 years? And I know it's hard to look ahead that far, but I would think, is this a long-term thing? And if it doesn't pass that test, then maybe it's not the right thing. If you're starting out, you could always try it. If you want to try something harder later,
I would even just shorten that and go, what do I want to be doing this in a year's time?
A year, yeah.
Do I want to be, I don't know, on a certain diet where I'm not allowed to eat certain foods? Do I want to be committing to 5 gym sessions a week, or I've got to find an hour at a time? Like all these things that are really maybe difficult to stick to. Can I see myself doing this in a year's time? If the answer is no, then it's probably not going to be the right thing to do. Whereas maybe if you change the mindset of, do you know what, I'll change, and we talk about this all the time, 2 to 3 things each week, nail them for a week, add 2 or 3 more and build upon them week by week, add a few more, increase the exercise, drink more water, make a few different changes to your diet, and just add those on week by week. Will I be in a better place in a year's time and a lot closer to where I want to be? Yes, absolutely. And again, we go back to the mindset. The mindset should be, it's a long journey. Like it's a marathon, literally a marathon. It's not 100 meters. People go in January, it's like 100 meters, got to finish it as quick as I can, get all the weight off. And it's like, well, it doesn't work like that. Life's a marathon, and you need that battle as well. Not battle, but you need that struggle to have all of the learnings, don't you? And build that resilience.
I think battle's fine, isn't it?
You need
exactly. You need to fail a little bit, and that's okay. Again, if you fail, put an arm around yourself as if you would with your child, and go, do you know what? It's okay. Let's talk about it. And if so, again, don't worry if you fall off the wagon a little bit. Go, do you know what? Well done. Let's see what happened there. What could I do differently? And like the mental side of things, do a little bit of work on your mindset. Whether that's, I don't know, find a book. I can't think of any books off the top of my head. I'm sure you might know.
Switch is awesome when it comes to habit and behavior change.
There's loads of things out there, isn't there?
chimp paradox. So, you know, you get to understand how your brain works. What's the one that's all about self-image? It's about this by the doctor who does surgery. I've got it over here.
Yeah. So again, invest in that side of things. It's integral to what Michael and I do. Is the shift we take our clients' brains on.
Psycho-cybernetics, it's called.
That's it. Yeah.
Yeah.
That transformation of how your brain is and what it's thinking. That's the thing that gives you the long-term results. Yeah. Should we drop a link in?
Yeah, we'll drop a link in today's free books. Awesome books.
That's what gives you the long-term results. That's the real power in, if you want to not go back to where you were, is working on that. And whether we do it, Michael and I do it as a part of our program, but there's books out there and there's lots of help out there for you to do that. There's, like Michael, you mentioned the podcast. There are podcasts about strengthening your mindset. And they can be specifically around health, or there's the high performance podcast is a lot. Again, you might not think that's a mindset podcast, but you listening to people talking about business or their health or whatever it is all talking about. They're all going to talk about mindset. That's pretty much all they're going to be discussing is how they've dealt with their struggles and what they've done and what their mindset was during it. And again, every time you listen to that, you're taking it in, listen to it and go, do you know, how does this apply to health? How does this guy talking about building his $1 billion business? What did he do that I can go, right, I can steal some of that and I can use that to help me with my diet?
Yeah, 100%. I think it all interlinks with each other. It might not be in your direct environment, like your husband or your wife or your kids, but if you've got an hour's commute, you're probably better off, if you want to work on your mindset, listen to a podcast, listen to like a book that's going to shift you forwards and give you maybe some breakthroughs, then listen to music or the radio for an hour. You do that 5 times a week, you're going to get some shifts in your mindset, and you're just going to listen to some people that maybe you resonate with more. Maybe like if you think about the environment, who you're surrounding yourself with, you're surrounding yourself with people that have been successful in certain areas. So I always think if you read a book or you listen to a podcast, even if you just take one thing, just like one takeaway that you can go and implement, like even if it's from this today, you take one thing that you can move forwards, then it's been worth it. Because again, if you listen to 5 podcasts a week, 5, that's 4. If you listen to 5 podcasts a week, and each time you take one from each, that's 5 different things you can go and take forward and work on, or 5 things of something new you've learned. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, and even sometimes for me, I'll hear the same thing a few times in different places, or the same kind of similar thing, and it'll take me a few times to actually for it to go in and go, I've heard that 5 times now.
Yeah,
I've been wanting to do it. So I always think just listening and just going with it and not actually trying to take anything in. So again, that's not wasted time. It's not. It's still, you're still working on it, because sometimes it can feel like, well, I'm just going to sit there and listen to something when I should be, I don't know, working, or I should be answering emails, or I should be doing that. But actually, it is useful time, even if you're just listening.
Perfect when you're trying to get your steps in, I'd say. Literally perfect. You're going to learn, you're going to get your steps in. So look, guys, what we want to do is just say, wherever you are, whatever's happened, if it hasn't quite gone to plan, what we'd both recommend is like looking at what was it that didn't go to plan? What was the biggest struggle? Why wasn't it sustainable? Why couldn't you stick to it? Why aren't you still doing it now? And almost like do like a little bit of a dive into that and figure out what was going on that you couldn't stick to it, and what can you do learning from that to move forward. Maybe it was changing too much at once. Maybe it was just unsustainable. Maybe the food you was eating, you don't even enjoy eating, So take all that information you've got and just almost like learn what you've learned, but wipe the slate clean and go again, because it's a project, isn't it? Working on you is a project. It doesn't stop. But what can you learn from maybe what hasn't quite gone right that you can use to take yourself forwards?
Definitely. I like that.
Anything you'd add to that?
No. I think
cool.
The project you's worth working on.
Well, you won't get a better project to work on than yourself.
Nope. Definitely not.
And also just to wrap up, like you can have money, you can have success, you can have all these things, but if your health goes, you're not going to be able to do any of the things you want to enjoy. You're not going to be able to spend good quality time with the people around you. So people say health is wealth, and it's absolutely true, because what it's like when you're ill and you pay almost anything to get healthy again. And you don't ever want it to get to a stage where you're so far down that road that it's going to be almost impossible to reverse. So again, if there's one thing to sort of take again from this, is like, how much does your health really mean to you? Because to me, it means everything to me, because I know I can't do the things I want to do in my life unless I have my health.
Yeah, absolutely, man.
All right, another half an hour. All right, guys.
We talk so much.
We do. It's our passion, isn't it? So, as always, guys, we do appreciate any feedback, any questions, any thoughts, anything that resonated with you, any shares, any likes, anything really. Give it to us. And we will see you on the next one. Cheers, Tom.
Thanks, Michael.
Cheers, guys.